No one understood why this old horse escaped from the stall every single night, always injured and completely exhausted. When they finally decided to follow him in silence, he stopped in front of something forgotten for years, and the moment they realized what it was, some stepped back, others covered their mouths. The entire group stood frozen, as if they had just discovered something that was never meant to be found. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment where you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. The barn door was broken, again. Jasper Holt stood in the cool morning air, looking at the splintered wood. His old horse, Spirit, stood a few feet away, head low. Fresh cuts marked the horse's shoulders. "You old fool," Jasper said, his voice a tired whisper. "What are you doing to yourself?" He walked over and ran a hand down Spirit's neck. The horse leaned into the touch, then let out a soft sigh. Jasper saw the mud on his legs, the tired look in his dark eyes. "You're running yourself into the ground. Why?" The kitchen door of the farmhouse slammed. Tommy Walsh, young and full of morning energy, hurried over. He saw the door and whistled. "Again? That's the third time this week, boss. He's stronger than he looks." "He's persistent," Jasper said. He looked at the broken latch. "Help me fix this. Again." As they worked, Tommy talked. "Maybe he's just bored, cooped up all night, needs to stretch his legs." Jasper did not answer. He watched Spirit. The horse was not looking at the open field. He was looking back toward the old path that led past the cornfields. His ears were forward, listening to something they could not hear. Martha Chen came from the chicken coop, a basket of eggs in her hand. She stopped and watched Spirit. She was quiet for a long time. "He's not bored," she said finally. Her voice was calm and sure. "Look at his eyes. He's worried. He's tired, but it's a different tired. It's the tired of having a job to do." Jasper twisted the brim of his hat, a slow turn with his fingers. Martha saw things others missed. "A job?" Tommy laughed. "He's a horse. His job is to stand in his stall and eat hay." "No," Jasper said, looking from Martha to Spirit. "She's right. This isn't playful. This is something else." The worry was a heavy stone in Jasper's stomach. He had other stones there too. A letter from the bank was on his kitchen table. The words were simple. They wanted their money. They said he had to pay the loan soon. The ranch was quiet, but the quiet felt thin, like ice on a pond about to crack. Inside the house, Jasper picked up the bank letter. He read the number. It was a very big number. He put the letter down and looked out the window. He saw Tommy leading Spirit to the water trough. He saw Martha checking the fence line. "Just keep walking," he said to himself, one foot in front of the other. "Fix the fence, feed the stock, don't think about the number, just keep walking." But Spirit was not walking. He was breaking out every single night. That afternoon, Jasper made a decision. He called Tommy and Martha to the porch. "We can't keep fixing this door," he said, "and I can't lose Spirit. He's worked this land with me for 15 years. He's family." "So what do we do?" Tommy asked, chewing on a piece of hay. "We find out where he goes," Jasper said. "Tonight, we follow him." Tommy's face lit up with excitement. "A night mission?" "I'm in." Martha nodded slowly. "It's the only way to know. We need to see, but we stay quiet, we stay back. We don't scare him." "We follow him," Jasper repeated, the plan settling in his mind. "Wherever he leads." As the sun set, painting the Nebraska sky in colors of orange and purple, the three of them prepared. They put on dark jackets. Jasper made sure the stall door was fixed just enough to look closed, but not enough to hold Spirit if he pushed. They waited in the shadow of the tractor shed as the moon rose, big and bright. The ranch fell into its nighttime sounds. Crickets sang. An owl called from a distant tree. Then they heard the sound. A soft creak of wood, then a quiet snap. Spirit pushed his stall door open. He stepped out into the moonlight. He did not run. He did not wander. He walked with a clear purpose, his head up, his steps steady on the dirt path. He walked past the sleeping cornfields, their stalks whispering in the night breeze. He did not look back. "Come on," Jasper whispered. And the three of them, farmer and ranch hands, stepped out of the shadows and followed the old horse into the dark. The moon was bright. It shone through the trees at the edge of the field, making long shadows on the ground. Jasper, Tommy, and Martha moved quietly, staying far behind Spirit. The old horse was a dark shape ahead, never slowing down. "He knows exactly where he's going," Martha whispered. Her voice was so low, Jasper almost didn't hear it. "Yeah, but where?" Tommy whispered back. He stepped on a dry twig. The snap sounded like a firecracker in the quiet night. All three of them froze. Spirit stopped walking. His head turned, ears swiveling toward the sound. Jasper held his breath. He put a hand on Tommy's arm, telling him to be still. After a long moment, Spirit turned back. He continued walking. He reached the tree line and, without pausing, stepped into the darkness of Blackwood Forest. "Oh no," Tommy mumbled. "He's going in there?" "You scared of some trees?" Martha asked, her voice still a whisper. "Not the trees," Tommy said. "The stories. My granddad said this place is wrong. Said people used to go in and not come out the same." Jasper started walking toward the forest. "Spirit comes out every morning. He's just more tired and more cut up. The forest isn't the problem. What's in the forest is the problem." They followed Spirit into the woods. The moonlight disappeared, blocked by a thick roof of leaves and branches. It became very dark. The air felt cooler. The sounds of the open field, the crickets, the wind, were gone. Now there was only the sound of their own footsteps and the distant call of a night bird. Tommy took out his phone and turned on the light. A small white circle jumped over tree roots and bushes. "Turn that off," Jasper said. "Your eyes will adjust. The light will scare him." Tommy sighed and put the phone away. After a few minutes, Jasper could see better. He could see the pale path Spirit was following. It was a thin trail, almost gone, covered in old leaves. They walked for what felt like a long time. Branches reached out and scratched their arms. Thorny bushes pulled at their clothes. No one spoke. They just walked, their eyes glued to the shadow of the horse ahead. Martha stopped suddenly. Jasper and Tommy stopped beside her. "What is it?" Jasper asked. "Listen," she said. They listened. At first, Jasper heard nothing. Then he heard it. A sound. It was not an animal sound. It was the sound of wood, a slow, tired groan of old wood bending. "That's not Spirit," Tommy said. "No," Jasper agreed. "It's something else." Spirit's shape disappeared ahead of them, going around a bend in the overgrown path. The three of them hurried to catch up, careful to stay quiet. They came into a small clearing. The moonlight found a hole in the trees here, pouring silver light onto the ground. In the middle of the clearing was a building, or what was left of one. It was a small barn. Its walls were leaning. Much of the roof had fallen in. The wood was black and rotten. The one door hung from a single hinge. Spirit was standing by a large hole in the side of the barn. He nudged the broken boards with his nose. Then he pushed his way inside. The old wood groaned again. "He goes in there?" Tommy's voice was full of disbelief. That thing could fall on him. Jasper felt his heart beat hard in his chest. This was the place. This broken, forgotten place was where Spirit came every night. He took a step forward, then another. He needed to see. He moved to the hole in the wall. He looked inside. It was dark. He could smell wet rot and old hay. He could see Spirit's shape in the middle of the space. The horse was standing over something on the ground. He was lowering his head. Then, a new sound cut through the silence. It was a weak, trembling cry. It was small and thin. It was the sound of an animal in pain. It was not Spirit. Jasper's breath caught in his throat. He understood now. The cuts, the exhaustion, the desperate escapes every single night. "Tommy," Jasper said, his voice rough. "Give me your phone. I need light." Tommy fumbled in his pocket and handed his phone to Jasper. His hands were shaking. Jasper tapped the screen, and a beam of white light cut through the dark barn. The light swept over fallen beams, piles of rotten hay, and spiderwebs thick with dust. Then it landed on Spirit. The old horse was standing over a small, dark shape on the ground. He was nudging it gently with his nose. As the light hit them, Spirit looked up. His eyes reflected the light, but he did not move away. He stood his ground, between the light and what was on the floor. "What is that?" Tommy whispered, crowding behind Jasper to see. Martha pushed past them both. She didn't ask. She just moved, her eyes locked on the scene. She stepped carefully through the hole in the wall and into the barn. "Spirit?" Easy now, she said, her voice soft and steady. It's just us. Let me see. Slowly, Spirit took one step to the side. He did not leave. He stood so close his body was still touching the small shape. The light from the phone now shone clearly on the ground. It was a baby horse, a foal. It was lying on its side in the dirty hay. Its ribs showed under its thin, wet fur. Its legs were tucked under it, and a piece of fallen roof timber was lying across its back legs, trapping it. The foal lifted its head weakly. It made that small, sad cry again. Its eyes were huge and dark. "Oh," Jasper said. The word fell out of his mouth like a stone. Everything made sense now. The broken door every night, the cuts on Spirit's shoulders from squeezing through this wreckage, the exhaustion. He wasn't running away. He was running asterisk to asterisk. "He's a parent," Martha said. She was already kneeling in the filth, her hands moving slowly toward the foal. "This is his baby. This barn must have collapsed after the foal was born. Trapped it in here." Tommy stared, his mouth open. "So he's been coming out here every night? In the dark? All this way?" "To feed it," Jasper said, his voice thick. "To bring it water. To make sure it wasn't alone." He looked at Spirit. The horse was watching Martha, his breath puffing out in the cool air. Jasper felt a feeling so big it hurt his chest. It was love, but a painful kind, the kind that makes you break doors to get to where you're needed. "The baby is in a very bad way," Martha said. Her professional tone was back, but it was tight with worry. She ran her hands over the foal's legs. "This wood isn't too heavy, but it's been here for days. The legs are cold, circulation is bad. And listen to that breath, it's rattling." The foal coughed, a thin, watery sound. "We have to get this wood off, now," Martha said. "Then we have to get her warm. She can't stay here another hour." "Her?" Tommy asked. "It's a little filly," Martha said. Jasper moved forward. He handed the phone back to Tommy. "Keep the light steady." He bent down beside Martha. The wood was wet and rotten. He got his fingers under one end. "On three. We lift straight up. We don't drag it. Ready?" Martha nodded, getting her hands under the other end. 1, 2, 3. They lifted. The wood was heavier than it looked. They raised it just enough, and Martha gently pulled the foal's back legs free. They set the timber down with a thud. The little filly tried to stand. Her front legs scrambled, but her back legs would not hold her. She collapsed back into the hay with a pitiful sigh. "It's okay, little one," Jasper murmured. He took off his jacket. He bundled it up. "We're gonna get you out of here." He slid his arms under the foal. She was so light, all bones and wet fur. He lifted her, cradling her against his chest, and wrapped his jacket around her body. She felt like a fragile bird. She didn't fight him. She just laid her head against his arm and closed her eyes. Spirit nudged Jasper's shoulder, then sniffed at the bundle in his arms. "We've got her, boy," Jasper said to the horse. "We've got her now. Let's go home." They turned to leave the broken barn. Tommy led the way with the light. Martha walked beside Jasper, her hand on the foal's neck, checking for a pulse. Spirit followed so close behind Jasper that the horse's nose almost touched his back. As they stepped out into the moonlight of the clearing, Jasper looked down at the tiny head resting on his arm. A name came to him, clear and certain. "Hope," he said quietly. "Your name is Hope." The walk back through Blackwood Forest was long and slow. Every step was careful. Jasper carried the precious, fragile weight. Spirit never left his side. They did not speak. The only sounds were their footsteps, the rustle of leaves, and the weak, ragged breath of the foal named Hope. The first gray light of morning was touching the sky when they finally reached Cedar Creek Ranch. Jasper's arms ached from carrying Hope the whole way, but he refused to let anyone else take her. Spirit walked beside him, step for step. "Get the small stall in the main barn ready," Jasper said to Tommy, his voice hoarse. "Clean straw, lots of it, and find the old space heater." Tommy didn't argue. He just ran ahead. Martha held the barn door open. "Over here, Jasper. Gently now." They had prepared a stall next to Spirit's. Tommy had dumped 2 fresh bales of straw and was spreading it with a pitchfork. Martha took Jasper's jacket and wrapped the foal in a clean, dry horse blanket instead. Together, they laid Hope on the deep, soft bed. The little filly was barely moving. Her breathing was a shallow, raspy struggle. "She's hypothermic, and that cough is deep in her lungs," Martha said, her fingers on the foal's neck. "We need warm electrolytes, and we need Dr. Aris. Now." Jasper nodded. He looked at the foal, then at Spirit. The old horse had his head over the stall door, his nostrils flaring as he sniffed the air, watching every move they made. "Stay with her, boy," Jasper said. He turned and walked quickly to the farmhouse. His whole body felt heavy with tiredness, but there was no time for it. Inside, he picked up the old phone on the wall. He dialed the number he knew by heart. The phone rang 3 times. Then a sleepy voice answered. "Hello? Doc, it's Jasper Holt, over at Cedar Creek." "Jasper, do you know what time it is?" "I know. I'm sorry. It's an emergency. It's a foal. She's real bad. Found her trapped in a collapse. She's ice cold and she can't breathe right." There was a pause on the line, then the sound of sheets rustling. The sleep was gone from Dr. Aris's voice. "I'm on my way. Keep her warm. Don't try to feed her anything but warm water or electrolytes if you have them. Just keep her warm." "We will. Thank you, Doc." Jasper hung up. He stood in the quiet kitchen for a moment. His eyes went to the table. The bank letter was still there. He walked over and picked it up. He read the number again. Then he folded the paper and put it in his pocket. When he got back to the barn, Martha was sitting in the straw with Hope's head in her lap, slowly dripping warm water from a syringe into the foal's mouth. Tommy had the space heater humming, directing the warm air into the stall. Spirit hadn't moved an inch. "Doc's coming," Jasper said. Martha just nodded, her full attention on the foal. It was almost an hour later when Dr. Aris's pickup truck crunched up the gravel drive. He was a man in his 50s with a kind, tired face. He carried a large metal box into the barn. He didn't waste time on greetings. He knelt in the straw beside Hope. He listened to her chest with a stethoscope. He checked her eyes, her gums, her legs. His face grew more serious with each check. "You were right to call me, Jasper," Dr. Aris said finally. He opened his metal box. "She has severe pneumonia, and she's dangerously weak. She needs a powerful antibiotic, intravenously, and she needs a lot of supportive care." "So give it to her," Tommy said. Dr. Aris looked up at Jasper. "The medicine is expensive, Jasper. The full course, plus my visits to administer it. We're looking at a lot of money." "How much money?" Jasper asked. His hand went to the brim of his hat, his fingers twisting the worn fabric. Dr. Aris told him. The number hung in the air of the warm barn. It was a big number, a number that made Tommy whistle softly and look at the ground. Martha closed her eyes for a second. It was a number much bigger than what was in Jasper's bank account. Jasper looked at Hope. She tried to lift her head and coughed, a weak, wet sound that shook her whole small body. He looked at Spirit. The horse was staring right at him, his dark eyes deep and knowing. "Do it," Jasper said, his voice low and firm. "Give her the medicine. Do whatever she needs." "Jasper," Dr. Aris said gently, "I need to know how I'm getting paid." "You'll get paid," Jasper said. He didn't know how, but he said it. "Just help her." Dr. Aris held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded. He pulled out a clear bag of fluid and a long tube. "All right, let's get this started. Martha, I'll need your help." As the vet and Martha worked to set up the IV, Jasper walked out of the barn. He stood in the morning sun. He took the bank letter from his pocket. He looked at the 2 numbers in his mind, the one on the paper and the one for Hope's life. They were both impossible. He had just promised money he did not have. For the second time that day. The next morning, the air in the barn was thick with worry. Hope lay on her bed of straw, the IV tube still taped to her leg. Her breathing sounded a little easier, but her eyes were still half closed. Martha sat with her, keeping watch. Jasper stood by the stall door, twisting his hat brim. Dr. Aris had left the first dose of medicine and a bill. The piece of paper felt like it was burning in Jasper's pocket. Tommy came in, his usual bounce gone. "I called the feed store. They said we gotta pay last month's bill before they'll deliver more. We're getting low." Jasper just nodded. He looked at Spirit. The old horse was in the adjacent stall, his head hanging over so he could touch his nose to Hope's back. He hadn't eaten his own breakfast. "He's worried sick about her," Martha said softly. "He knows." The sound of a vehicle on the gravel made them all look up. It wasn't Dr. Aris's truck. This was a different sound, a deep, smooth purr of a big engine. A shiny black truck, so clean it looked wet, pulled up and stopped outside the barn. The doors opened. A man in crisp blue jeans and a cowboy hat that had never seen dirt stepped out. Another man, bigger and silent, stayed by the truck. The man walked into the barn. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Jasper Holt?" "That's me," Jasper said, not moving from his spot. "Clayton Duke, from Omaha." He held out a hand. Jasper shook it. The man's grip was firm, his hand smooth. "Heard you had a bit of an adventure last night. Found a lost foal in Blackwood, I'm told." News traveled fast in the country. Jasper just nodded. "We did." Clayton Duke looked past Jasper into the stall. He looked at Hope, then his eyes locked on Spirit. They lit up with a kind of cold interest. "And this must be the famous Spirit, the horse that led you there." "He is," Jasper said, his voice guarded. "He's a magnificent animal," Clayton said, stepping closer to Spirit's stall. Spirit lifted his head and took a step back, his ears going flat. "A real survivor. Strong bloodlines, I'd bet." "What can I do for you, Mr. Duke?" Jasper asked. He didn't like this. He didn't like the man's clean boots on his barn floor, or the way he looked at Spirit like he was a painting he wanted to buy. Clayton turned, his smile widening. "Straight to business. I like that. I'm a collector, Mr. Holt, of fine animals. I have a stable full of champions. But I don't have a horse with a story like this one, a horse with heart. I want to buy Spirit." The barn went very quiet. Tommy stopped chewing his toothpick. Martha's hand went still on Hope's neck. "He's not for sale," Jasper said. "Everything has a price," Clayton said smoothly. He reached inside his jacket and pulled out a checkbook. "I'm prepared to make it a very good one, a price that could solve a lot of problems." His eyes flicked almost imperceptibly toward the bill from Dr. Aris, which was sticking out of Jasper's shirt pocket. He named a figure. It was a number so large it made Tommy gasp. Jasper felt his mouth go dry. That number. It could pay for all of Hope's medicine. It could pay the feed store. It could pay the bank. It could save Cedar Creek Ranch. All of it, with one signature. He looked at the checkbook in Clayton's hand. He thought of the numbers swirling in his head, the crushing weight of them. This was a way out. A clean, simple way out. He started to speak, to say, "Let me think about it." But he stopped. He looked away from the money. He looked at Spirit. The old horse had moved back to the shared wall with Hope's stall. He had his nose pressed against the wood, his eye fixed on his sick baby. There was a soft, worried wuffle sound in his throat. Jasper saw the love there. It was the same love that broke stall doors and walked through dark forests every night. It was not for sale. He looked back at Clayton Duke. "No," Jasper said. His voice was quiet but final. "He's not for sale. His place is here." Clayton's smile vanished. It disappeared so fast it was like it was never there. His face became cold and hard. "That's a mistake, Holt. A sentimental mistake. You have a sinking ship here. I'm throwing you a life preserver." "I appreciate the offer," Jasper said, though he didn't. "The answer is no." Clayton stared at him for a long, cold moment. He slowly put his checkbook back in his pocket. "You'll regret this," he said, his voice low. He turned and walked out of the barn without another word. They listened to the purr of the black truck fade away. Tommy let out a long breath. "Holy smokes, boss. That was a lot of money." "It was," Jasper said. He felt shaky inside. He had just turned away the answer to all his problems. Martha looked up from Hope. "It was the right choice, Jasper." Jasper looked at Spirit, who was now gently licking Hope's forehead. He knew she was right. But as he looked out the barn door at the empty driveway, a cold feeling of dread settled in his stomach. Clayton Duke did not seem like a man who heard the word no very often. The cold feeling from Clayton Duke's visit didn't leave Jasper all day. It sat in his gut like a piece of bad meat. He checked on Hope every hour. She was a little better, but still so weak. The IV bag was almost empty. "Dr. Aris is coming back in the morning with more medicine," Martha said, reading the worry on his face. "She's fighting, Jasper." "I know," he said. But he also knew the next bill would come, and the one after that. That night, Jasper lay in his bed but couldn't sleep. He listened to the sounds of the ranch, the owls, the distant cows, the soft wind. Then, a new sound cut through. It was his bedroom door flying open. Tommy stood there, backlit by the hall light, his face pale. "Fire!" Tommy yelled, his voice cracking. "The old hay barn." Jasper was out of bed and pulling on his boots in 2 seconds. He ran downstairs and out the front door. An orange glow lit up the side of the property. Flames licked the roof of the old wooden barn they used for storage. "Martha!" Jasper shouted. "I'm here," she called, running from the bunkhouse, already dressed. "The hose by the main barn." They all ran. Tommy grabbed the big fire extinguisher from the porch. Jasper and Martha wrestled with the heavy canvas hose, turning on the outdoor faucet full blast. The water pressure was weak, but it was something. "Get the stock out of the near paddock," Jasper yelled to Tommy. "Move them to the back field." The heat from the fire was intense. Sparks flew into the black sky. Jasper and Martha aimed the stream of water at the base of the flames, trying to stop it from spreading to the main barn. "It's going fast," Martha shouted over the roar of the fire. "Just keep it contained," Jasper yelled back. Tommy came running back, his face smudged with soot. "Animals are clear. What can I do?" "Buckets from the horse trough," Jasper ordered. They formed a line, passing buckets of water, throwing them on the edges of the fire. It felt like trying to stop a river with a cup. The old dry wood of the hay barn was perfect fuel. With a loud groan, part of the roof collapsed inward, sending a tower of sparks high into the air. They all stepped back, breathing hard, their faces hot and sweaty. There was no saving the barn. They could only watch it burn and make sure nothing else had caught. As the worst of the flames began to die down, eaten up by the collapsing structure, Tommy walked toward the front of the property. He was looking down the long gravel driveway toward the main road. "Jasper," Tommy called, his voice sharp. Jasper and Martha walked over to him exhausted. Tommy was pointing. Far down the road, the red taillights of a vehicle were disappearing into the night. "You see that?" Tommy said, his voice tight with anger. "It's a truck," Martha said. "It's asterisk truck," Tommy spat. "Clayton Duke's, that big shiny black one. I saw it clear when he turned. He was here. He did this." Jasper stared at the spot where the lights had vanished. The cold feeling in his stomach turned to a hard, sick knot. He thought about the man's cold eyes, his smooth voice saying, "You'll regret this." "We can't prove that," Jasper said quietly. "We didn't see him." "I know what I saw," Tommy said, his fists clenched. "He's right, Jasper," Martha said, her voice grim. She was looking at the burning wreckage. This wasn't an accident. The wiring in that barn was dead for years. Nothing in there could start a fire by itself. Someone set it. The last of the flames flickered out, leaving a smoldering blackened skeleton. The air stank of wet charcoal and burned hay. They stood in the dark, the only light now coming up from the moon and the porch light of the house. Jasper walked over to the ruin. He kicked at a blackened timber. Inside, he could see what was left. The winter hay supply, gone. Spare tractor parts, gone. Tools, gone. All of it, gone. "We needed that hay," Martha said, stating the simple, terrible fact. "Hope needs good hay to build her strength when she can eat. The cows need it in a few months." "I know," Jasper said. He felt a tiredness deeper than his bones. They walked back to the main barn in silence. The first thing Jasper did was check on Hope. The little foal was awake, her eyes wide and scared from the noise and the strange smell in the air. Spirit was nuzzling her, trying to calm her. Hope took a ragged breath and then coughed, a deep, painful-sounding cough that made her whole body shudder. Martha was at her side instantly, her hand on Hope's chest. "Her fever's back up. The stress, the smoke, it's made her worse. She needs that next dose of medicine now more than ever." Jasper looked up from the sick foal to the dark, smoking hole where their supplies used to be. Clayton Duke had taken a problem and made it a disaster. He had tried to burn the worry right out of Jasper to make him give up. But as he watched Spirit care for his baby, Jasper felt the worry harden into something else. It was no longer just a heavy weight, it was a sharp, clear purpose. The morning after the fire was gray and smelled of smoke. Hope's cough was worse. Dr. Aris came early, his face grave as he listened to her lungs. "The infection is fighting back," he said, preparing a new IV bag. "This next round of antibiotics is critical. Without it..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Jasper nodded. his eyes on the foal. Just do it. After the vet left, Martha put on her work gloves. I'm going back to the old barn, she said. The one in Blackwood. Tommy, who was cleaning ash off tools, looked up. Why? That place gives me the creeps. We need materials, Martha said, her voice practical. We have no money for new lumber. That barn is fallen, but some of the beams might be salvageable. We can use them to patch up what we need here. Jasper was about to tell her not to bother, that it was a waste of time, but he saw the set of her jaw. She needed to do something useful. Take Tommy. Be careful. That structure isn't safe. I don't want to go back there, Tommy mumbled, but he got up and followed her anyway. The forest was quieter in the daytime, but no less gloomy. They reached the clearing with the collapsed barn. In the daylight, it looked even sadder and more broken. Martha walked right up to the hole in the wall where they had pulled Hope out. She started examining the beams, testing their strength with her hands. Tommy kicked at a pile of rotten wood. This is all junk, Martha. It's soft. It'll fall apart if you look at it funny. Not all of it, she said. She was focused on the area just inside the wall, near where Hope had been trapped. She pushed aside some broken planks and a thick layer of leaf litter and dirt. Her hand brushed against something hard and cold. She paused. She pushed more dirt away. There was a metal corner. It was a box. It was buried, but not deep. The wood that had been on top of it was rotten, but the box itself was solid. Tommy, she said, come help me. Together they pulled the box free. It was about the size of a large book, made of thick, rusted metal. It had a clasp and a small lock, but the lock was broken and covered in dirt. What is that? Tommy asked. I don't know, Martha said. She wiped the dirt off the top. The lock was old, but underneath the grime, the metal was still shiny. This wasn't here when the barn fell a long time ago. This was put here after, and not that long after either. The lock isn't as rusted as it should be. She pried the broken lock open with the blade of her multi-tool. The hinges squealed in protest. She lifted the lid. Inside, wrapped in a piece of old oiled cloth, was a stack of papers. They were dry and crisp. Don't touch them, Tommy said. They'll fall apart. Martha's movements were gentle. She carefully unfolded the cloth. The papers on top were yellowed but intact. The writing was in a fancy, old-fashioned script. She read the first few lines. Her breath caught. Tommy, she said, her voice hushed. We need to take this to Jasper, right now. Back at Cedar Creek, Jasper was in the kitchen, staring at a single piece of toast he couldn't bring himself to eat. The door banged open. Martha walked in, carefully carrying the metal box. Tommy was right behind her, his eyes wide. What's that? Jasper asked. We found it, Martha said. She set the box on the table, buried in the dirt where Hope was. Someone put it there. Jasper stood up. He looked at the box, then at Martha's serious face. What's inside? Martha carefully lifted out the stack of papers. She smoothed the top one on the kitchen table. It's a deed, Jasper, a land deed. Jasper leaned over. The words were formal and old, but he could read them. Asterisk. This document certifies that all parceled land herein described, being the tract known as Blackwood Forest, comprising approximately 200 acres, is hereby granted in perpetuity to... His eyes scanned down to the name. The blood drained from his face. The name was not Duke, it was Holt. His grandfather's full name, Elias Holt. He shuffled to the next paper. It was a bill of sale, but it was strange. It showed his grandfather selling only the timber rights to a man named Gerald Duke, Clayton's father, for a small sum of money. Not the land, just the trees. The next paper was a letter. The handwriting was messy and angry. It was from Gerald Duke to someone else. A line jumped out at Jasper. Asterisk, Elias Holt is a fool. He thinks he still owns the woods. The new deed is filed. The old one is lost. The land is mine now. He stole it, Jasper whispered, his voice rough. Clayton's father. He stole the land. He filed false papers. He must have buried the real ones here, thinking no one would ever find them. Tommy pointed a shaking finger at the deed. So, Blackwood Forest? It's not Clayton Duke's? No, Jasper said, straightening up. A fire was kindling behind his tired eyes. It never was. It's mine. It belonged to my grandfather. It belongs to me. Martha touched the edge of the paper. Clayton Duke has been trying to push you off your ranch. He wanted to buy Spirit to hurt you. He burned your barn, all because he wanted this land clear. He wants to build his hotel on your family's land, and he thought you were in his way. Jasper looked from the ancient truthful papers to the modern threatening bank letter in his pocket. For the first time in months, the heavy weight didn't feel like it would crush him. It felt like something he could lift. He had proof. The metal box sat on the seat between Jasper and Martha as they drove into town. Tommy was in the back, fidgeting with his phone. "You sure about this, Jasper?" Martha asked, her hands folded tightly in her lap. "No," Jasper said honestly, his eyes on the road. "But I'm done being pushed. He burned my barn. He's trying to scare me off my own land. I have the truth right here." He tapped the box. "What if he just takes it?" Tommy leaned forward from the back seat. "He's a rich guy. He could have lawyers. He could just grab it and throw us out." "That's why you're here, Tommy," Jasper said. "You and that phone of yours. You see everything that happens. You make sure you record it." Tommy's face broke into a fierce grin. "Oh, I'm ready. I got my camera app open right now." Clayton Duke's office was on Main Street in the nicest brick building. The door had a shiny brass nameplate. Jasper didn't knock. He just opened the door and walked in. Clayton was behind a big wooden desk, talking on the phone. He looked up, saw Jasper, and his smile was cold. He held up a finger, telling them to wait. He finished his call slowly, then hung up. "Jasper Holt," Clayton said, not getting up. "Come to change your mind about that horse? The price just went down, by the way, after your little fire problem." "This isn't about Spirit," Jasper said. His voice was calm, which surprised him. He put the metal box on Clayton's fancy desk. Clayton looked at the box, then back at Jasper. "What's this? You bringing me scrap metal now?" "Open it," Jasper said. Clayton's eyes narrowed. He leaned forward and flicked the lid open. He saw the old papers. For just a second, a flicker of something, fear, recognition, crossed his face. Then his expression went blank and hard. "What am I looking at?" he said, his voice flat. "You know what it is," Jasper said. He pulled out the top deed and unfolded it. He placed it right in front of Clayton. "It's the deed to Blackwood Forest, the real one. It was granted to my grandfather, Elias Holt, not to your father." Clayton didn't look at the paper. He kept his eyes on Jasper. "That's a forgery, a pathetic attempt. My family has owned that land for 40 years. "Then why was this buried in a barn on that land?" Martha spoke from beside Jasper. Her voice was clear and sharp. "With a letter from your father talking about stealing it?" Now Clayton looked at the papers. His jaw tightened. His hands, which were resting on the desk, clenched into fists. "This proves nothing," he said, but his voice had lost its smooth confidence. "Old trash from a collapsed barn. It's garbage." "It's proof," Jasper said, leaning on the desk. "And I'm taking it to the county recorder. I'm taking it to a lawyer. That land is mine. You've been trying to bully me off what was always mine." Clayton's calm shattered. His face turned a dark red. "You have no idea who you're dealing with, you broke dirt farmer," he snarled. In one quick motion, he lunged across the desk and snatched the deed out from under Jasper's hand. "Give that back," Jasper shouted, grabbing for it. "It's mine," Clayton yelled, crumpling the paper in his fist. He tried to grab the rest of the papers from the box. "Tommy," Jasper called out. "I got it. I got all of it," Tommy said from the corner of the room. He was holding his phone up, the screen pointed right at Clayton. "You just stole that paper right out of his hand, on video." Clayton froze. His eyes snapped to Tommy. He saw the phone. He saw the little red recording light. He looked at the crumpled deed in his own hand, then at Jasper, then back at the phone. The fight went out of him. It was like watching a balloon deflate. He slowly, carefully placed the wrinkled deed back on the desk. He smoothed it with a trembling hand. That was a misunderstanding," he said, his voice strained. "There's no misunderstanding," Jasper said. He gathered the papers back into the box and closed the lid. "The land is mine. You stay away from my ranch. You stay away from my horses. If you come near us again, this video goes to the sheriff. And these papers go to every lawyer in the state." Clayton Duke said nothing. He just sank back into his expensive chair, his face pale. He looked at the box in Jasper's hands like it was a poisonous snake. Jasper, Martha, and Tommy turned and walked out of the office. The brass bell on the door jingled behind them. They didn't speak until they were back in the truck. Tommy let out a huge whoop of joy. "Did you see his face? He looked like he saw a ghost." Martha allowed herself a small, tight smile. "He knows he's beaten." Jasper started the engine. He looked at the box on the seat. For the first time in a long time, he didn't feel the twist of worry in his gut. He felt something solid. He felt sure. The next week was a blur of activity, but it was a good kind of blur. The heavy cloud that had hung over Cedar Creek Ranch was gone. Jasper's first trip was to the county records office with the old deed. The woman behind the counter examined the papers with a magnifying glass, then looked at her computer. "Well, I'll be," she said. "This is the original grant. The filing from the Duke family has a different parcel number. It's a clerical error, but a big one. This land is legally yours, Mr. Holt. We'll start the correction process right away." Jasper's next stop was the bank. He asked to see the manager. He did not bring the bank letter. He brought a new piece of paper. "I'd like to pay off the loan on Cedar Creek Ranch," Jasper said. The manager, a man named Mr. Burrows, looked surprised. "The full amount, Mr. Holt?" "Yes, sir," Jasper said. He slid the paper across the desk. It was an agreement of sale. "I've sold a small piece of my land, the north 40 acres of Blackwood Forest, to the Miller family. They want to start an organic farm. The sale goes through next week. This shows the amount. It's enough to pay what I owe you, with some left over." Mr. Burrows read the agreement, then smiled a real smile. "Well, congratulations. We'll get this processed immediately. Cedar Creek will be free and clear." When Jasper told Tommy and Martha, Tommy jumped up and let out a cheer that scared the chickens. Martha just smiled, a deep, real smile that lit up her whole face. "Now," Jasper said, pulling out his wallet. He handed Martha a stack of bills. "This is for Dr. Aris, for all of Hope's medicine, past and future. You take it to him today." Martha took the money, her eyes a little shiny. "I'll go right now." With the medicine secured and paid for, Hope began to improve for real. The rattling cough faded. Her eyes grew brighter. One afternoon, when Martha opened her stall, Hope struggled to her feet all by herself. Her legs wobbled, but she stood. "Look at you," Martha said, her voice full of pride. Spirit nickered softly from his own stall, his head bobbing up and down as if he was saying, "That's my girl." A few days later, Jasper found Tommy and Martha standing by the charred remains of the old hay barn. "We should clean this up," Tommy said. "Maybe we can rebuild it smaller, for tools. We can use the good timber from the barn in Blackwood," Martha added. "The beams are solid." Jasper looked at the blackened spot, then at the two of them. They weren't just hired hands. They were partners. "Okay," he said. "Let's make a plan." They worked together for the next several days. They hauled away the burnt wood. They used the tractor to bring the salvageable beams from the forest. Tommy, who was better with tools than he liked to admit, figured out how to frame a new small shed. Martha measured and cut. Jasper bolted it all together. It felt good. It was hard work, but it was work for the future. No one was coming to burn it down. It was theirs. One evening, after a long day of building, the three of them sat on the porch steps. The sky was turning pink and orange. From the barn, they could hear the soft sounds of the horses. Hope's gentle nicker, Spirit's deep, contented sigh. Tommy took a long drink of lemonade. "You know, I was thinking, maybe we could fix up that old bunkhouse a little, put in a better stove for the winter." "That's a good idea," Martha said. "The insulation is terrible in there." Jasper looked at them. Tommy, who had found a home. Martha, who had found a place for her skills to matter. "We can do that," he said. "We can do whatever we need to now." The ranch was safe. The debt was gone. The foal was growing stronger every day. For the first time in a very long time, Jasper Holt felt peace settle over Cedar Creek like the gentle evening dew. A week after the new shed was finished, a police car came up the driveway. It was a normal Tuesday morning. Jasper was fixing a hinge on the pasture gate. He saw the car and felt a jolt of old worry. He stood up, wiping his hands on his pants. A police officer got out. She was a woman with a kind face. She walked over to him. "Mr. Holt? Jasper Holt?" "Yes, ma'am," Jasper said. "I'm Officer Grady. I wanted to give you an update about Clayton Duke." Tommy and Martha came out of the barn and stood a few feet away listening. "What about him?" Jasper asked. "We've had other complaints. After your incident, more people came forward. He has a history of pressuring landowners, of offering bad deals. There's an investigation into fraud, into the faulty land filings. He's in a lot of trouble." Officer Grady smiled a little. "He won't be bothering you again." "Thank you," Jasper said. The last piece of the threat was gone. "Also," the officer said, reaching back into her car, "this came to the station for you. We verified it was legitimate." She handed Jasper a plain white envelope. "It's from a woman in Colorado. She said she saw your story on the Nebraska News Channel. She wanted you to have this." Jasper took the envelope. His name was written on it in a graceful, flowing hand. After Officer Grady left, the three of them went to the porch. Jasper opened the envelope. Inside was a letter. He read it out loud. "Dear Mr. Holt, my name is Eleanor Grant. I live in Boulder, Colorado. Many years ago, when I was a young woman, I owned a beautiful young horse. His name was Spirit. I had to sell him when I went to college. It broke my heart. I have always wondered what happened to him. Last night, I saw a story on the news about a rancher in Nebraska who followed his old horse into the woods and found a trapped foal. They showed Spirit. I knew it was him immediately. I cried for an hour. To see him and to see the love he has for his baby. It was the most beautiful thing. I know he is your horse now, and he is clearly where he belongs. But if it is not too much trouble, I would be honored to visit, just to see him one more time. Yours truly, Eleanor." Jasper looked up. Tommy and Martha were silent. "She wants to visit," Martha said softly. "She should," Jasper said. He folded the letter. "She deserves to see him." 2 days later, an older woman in a simple sedan drove up to Cedar Creek. She got out slowly. She had silver hair and gentle eyes. Jasper walked out to meet her. "Mrs. Grant, I'm Jasper Holt." "Eleanor, please," she said, shaking his hand. Her eyes were already looking past him, toward the barn. "Is he?" "He's right in here," Jasper said. They walked into the barn. Spirit was in his stall, head over the door. Hope was lying in the straw next to him, sleeping. Eleanor stopped walking. She put a hand to her mouth. "Oh," she whispered. A tear rolled down her cheek. "Spirit." At the sound of her voice, Spirit's ears pricked forward. He lifted his head. He looked at the woman. He stared for a long moment. Then, he let out a soft, low nicker, a sound Jasper had never heard before. Spirit walked to the stall door and pushed it open with his nose. He walked right up to Eleanor. He lowered his head and nudged her hand with his nose, just like he used to do when he was young. Eleanor laughed through her tears, running her hand over his forehead. "You remember me, you old charmer, you remember." She spent an hour with him, talking softly, brushing his neck with her fingers. She told Jasper stories of Spirit as a colt, full of energy and mischief. Before she left, she gave Jasper a small, old photograph. It was faded at the edges. It showed a sleek, powerful mare standing proudly. A young, handsome Spirit stood beside her. His mother, Eleanor said. Her name was Evening Star. She was a champion racer. Spirit comes from a line of champions, but I think he became something better. He became a father. He became a hero. Jasper looked at the photo, then at Spirit, who was now back in his stall, watching over Hope as she slept. He understood now. Spirit's whole life was a story of love and loss. He was taken from his first mother. He was taken from Eleanor. He lost his baby's mother. But through all of it, he never stopped loving. He never stopped trying to get to where he was needed. Now, that story had found its happy end. Eleanor drove away, waving from her car window. Jasper walked back to the barn. Tommy was filling water buckets. Martha was checking Hope's temperature, smiling at the reading. Hope was on her feet, nibbling at some hay. Spirit stood beside her, touching her flank with his nose. Jasper leaned on the stall door. He looked at his ranch hands. He looked at the old horse and the young foal. The morning sun streamed in through the barn windows, warm and golden. They were not just a rancher and his help, or a man and his horses. They were a family forged by a secret in the woods, held together by loyalty, and saved by an old, unbreakable love. They were home.